Is the Colorado River in the USA really being destroyed by man? That's the question on everyone's mind. Let's find out in the rest of this video. The Colorado River stretches over 2,300 kilometers. It supplies drinking water to over 40 million people. It is the most famous river in the American West. For millions of years, it has flowed peacefully from the Rocky Mountains to its delta in Mexico. It is also one of the world's most popular tourist rivers. Unfortunately, drought and above all, human activity are putting the river at risk. Its flow, like the water level, diminishes year after year. In its path, numerous artificial lakes have been created to serve the largest cities in the West. These are gradually emptying out, causing concern and questioning amongst the region's inhabitants. People are now using more water than the lake receives. While drought is one of the main reasons for Colorado's low water levels, it's not the only one. Overexploitation of this resource is at least as responsible. Artificial lakes, gigantic dams, diversion canals have all contributed to the river's depletion. Overdrawn to the point of excess, it is under man's thumb. Some areas of intensive agriculture are located in the middle of the desert. They therefore require huge amounts of water, drawn from the Colorado. The river is now so dry that it can no longer reach its estuary in the sea. Do you think we'll be able to save the Colorado? Nothing is certain. We're in the midst of a historic drought, which is affecting the western United States in particular. The country's largest water reservoir is at its lowest level in 85 years. In 2022, the Colorado River level was at 34% of its maximum capacity. In 2021, it was at 40%. What will happen in 2023? Lake Mead, for example, is at 26% of its maximum capacity. It supports numerous agricultural productions in the region. It can hold 35.2 trillion liters of water and reaches a maximum elevation of 372 meters above sea level. The last time the lake came close to such figures was in 1999. Today, we're a long way from that. Do you understand why this situation is so alarming? The river flows through the Colorado states. We're talking about Utah, Arizona, Nevada, California, and northern Mexico. It feeds off the snow that accumulates at high altitudes during the winter. When summer arrives, the snow gradually melts. However, climate change is reducing precipitation. The river is therefore deprived of a large part of its resources. What's more, rising temperatures worldwide are causing water to evaporate. Low rainfall and heat are the Colorado River's enemies. Today, the American West is entering its 24th year of drought. In 1,200 years, this is the most severe episode the river has ever faced. Clearly, the consequences of global warming are not just about water. We're also talking about extremely dangerous forest fires. The drying up of the river can also be seen from a NASA observatory. If this can be seen from space, the future of the river, and indeed of the planet, must become one of the country's top priorities. In an attempt to contain this terrible phenomenon, federal authorities have decided to impose water supply cuts. The aim is to preserve this vital river, which has already dried up enough. It's true that the western United States depends on it to a great extent. As we've seen, it is this overexploitation that is partly responsible for the worsening drought. Like Lake Mead, Lake Powell is the country's second largest water reservoir. It is only at a quarter of its capacity. As a result, states and countries such as Arizona, Nevada, and Mexico are experiencing unprecedented supply restrictions. The 7 states dependent on the river now need to come to an agreement. It is imperative that they reduce their consumption by 15 to 30%. Nevertheless, people will have to get used to this new regime, as the restrictions seem to be in place for a long time to come. There is talk of imposing even more restrictions in the long term, as the Colorado Basin is doomed to disappear. How do you react in such a situation? It's true that the water resources are shrinking drastically. However, states are struggling to find common ground when it comes to distributing the reductions. Nobody wants to change their behavior. Everyone wants to maintain a certain level of comfort. Is it really reasonable to think individualistically in such a situation? It's high time to think collectively. And that's what the federal authorities want the people of the various states to understand. The Feeder River is a bone of contention. The states it flows through are engaged in a merciless battle. Each wants to monopolize what little water it has left. California is at odds with its 6 neighbors: Arizona, Colorado, Nevada, New Mexico, Utah, and Wyoming. The proposal put forward by the latter last February does not suit the Golden State. It's true that California is showing a willingness to tackle its model of overconsumption, but these efforts are not enough. The 20 million Californians who depend on the river are unwilling to change their behavior. The federal government is therefore obliged to tighten the screws. Indeed, the savings needed to ensure the survival of the Colorado River are between 20 and 40% of the river's current capacity. As part of a negotiation process, the department proposed that Phoenix and Las Vegas should no longer benefit from supplies from the Colorado. Naturally, the two states concerned categorically refused this proposal. Nevertheless, it would appear that the US government is seriously considering this option. It's true that these two metropolises both respond to a development model that is far too high. In the heart of the Sonoran Desert, the population of the Phoenix urban area has doubled in 30 years. Take Scottsdale, for example. It boasts dozens of golf courses that require daily, almost permanent watering. Las Vegas, with its population of 2.2 million, also faces the problem of filling its swimming pools. No one wants to be deprived of their magnificent swimming pool, but do we really have a choice? Do you think we can behave differently? Well, we'll have to. As we saw earlier, Lakes Mead and Powell supply Arizona, Nevada, and Southern California not only with water, but also with electricity. Lake Mead is currently at its lowest level, 315 meters above sea level. If this level drops another 30 meters, the famous Hoover Dam will no longer be able to generate hydroelectric power. If the levels were to drop again, this time by 45 meters, the water would no longer pass the cramp. This would create a debt pool situation, a real disaster. Other solutions have also been implemented, such as the use of recycled water. However, they seem derisory given the urgency of the situation. Finally, we're at a crossroads. Either we manage to limit the damage or we're heading for a very bleak future. Which would you prefer? One question remains. How are people coping? Many professional farmers find themselves in dire straits, particularly financially. As a result, they're combining jobs. Indeed, they're unable to farm all their plots for the lack of water. Without water, there's no money, is the motto of many people living in the American West. Tourism is also a victim of the Colorado's drying up. Ski resorts such as the Aspen and Vail need water to produce artificial snow. For many, the considerable transformations that humans are inflicting on Colorado are frightening. Thirst, dust, and desert are felt in many places. The landscapes of these regions are made up of nothing but aridity. Can we learn from it? What are we prepared to do to save Colorado? Is man aware of the suffering he's inflicting on the planet? Don't hesitate to give us your opinion on the matter by leaving us a comment below. We look forward to hearing from you. See you soon on ATech.